Hiya and welcome back to Green Hill Gaming, where I share my passion of video games with the whole wide world. In this live stream, I will be giving my impressions on Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, or as I like to call the movie, Welcome to Raccoon Shitty. So sit back, relax, grab your sunglasses, but as always, and more importantly, enjoy the live stream. Now, while I discuss all things Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon Shitty, you can look or read, if you want to, at the Batman Arkham Asylum character bios. So, a couple of days ago, I actually watched from start to finish Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon Shitty. I didn't pay for it. Fuck no. I didn't go to the cinema to watch that shit. I watched it illegally online because I'm a gangster. What are you going to do, Batman? After watching that movie, it's clear to me, apart from being shit, that the movie is aimed at fans of Resident Evil. It is. It is a very faithful adaptation to the Resident Evil games. It is. Resident Evil fans who only played Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake, of course, and 5 and 6. Bit of Resident Evil 4 here and there. Looked up online, watched a couple of history of videos of Code Veronica. Yeah, movie is definitely aimed at those Resident Evil fans. And it is very clearly, that the movie is very clearly a faithful adaptation of those games. But it ain't aimed at hardcore, original, die-hard Resident Evil fans who have played the original Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, and actually played Code Veronica instead of watching, YouTube videos of Code Veronica and said, yeah, that looks like a cool game, but they can never appreciate, Dreamcast and PS2 generation graphics, so they won't bother playing it. But yeah, I know Code Veronica, yeah. Yeah, it's... So, it was very clear to me, what kind of Resident Evil fans this movie was aimed at. And it was very clear to me what type of Resident Evil video games this movie was a faithful adaptation of. And that's going to be the big theme that I'm going to focus on throughout this live stream, throughout my impressions of Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. So, where do I start on this absolute shitfest of a movie? Dear God. Okay. Let's start off with the characters. The characters that, Resident Evil fans all know and love. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to get my live stream up and running on my phone because I think I may have actually turned off text to speech On my live stream, sorry. Okay, it's okay. Okay, so the movie has your favorites. It would have Leon S. Kennedy, Claire Redfield, Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Albert Wesker, Chief Irons, and how do you do to my first and lovely viewer? How are you doing? You're very welcome to Green Hill Gaming. You're welcome to my Resident Evil, welcome to Raccoon shitty impression. So I hope you're doing well and I hope you enjoy the live stream and feel free to join the discussion.
Johnny Myboa.
Muhammad. Oh, you are Supan's friend, I think. Or are you Supan with
It's me,
an alternate?
Saban.
I was thinking that. Whose account is that, man? Did you create a new
account? Right.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I was wondering. I actually thought that you were actually your friend. Remember your friend that was playing Fortnite and you wanted me to change his mind to play Fortnite? I actually thought you were him. Supan, how are you keeping, man? Welcome to the live stream. Great to have you.
Chat RN?
I do not know. Maybe it's the director of Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, crying his eyes out.
Why, Johnny? Why don't you like my movie? I did my best.
Yeah, fucking right. So yeah, feel free to join the discussion, Supan. So I kind of kicked off there just in case
Why Johnny face with tears of joy?
Why?
I know, yeah, he's crying, bawling, tears streaming down his eyes. God love him. So just in case you missed the start of the live stream, Supan, I kicked things off by saying the following. So after watching Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, Supan, it is clear to me that this movie is aimed at Resident Evil fans. And it is a very faithful adaptation of the Resident Evil games. However, the movie is aimed at Resident Evil fans who played Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake and watched a couple of the history of Resident Evil games like Code Veronica, but couldn't be bothered playing Code Veronica because, oh no, shit PS2 graphics, no, not playing that.
But it's really not low.
But they're okay to, watch a couple of cutscenes and think they know everything about Code Veronica. So the movie is clearly aimed at those people.
Yeah, I know Leon. Yeah, I know Claire. Yeah, I know Jill Valentine. They're so cool. I played Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake. I'm a Resident Evil fan.
Yeah, the movie is clearly aimed at those Resident Evil fans, yes. And it is very clear the movie is a faithful adaptation of those Resident Evil games, yes, clearly. But the movie is nowhere near aimed at hardcore, die-hard, original Resident Evil fans.
PS3 graphics people are saying.
Like, I know, yeah, that's the ironic thing about it, actually, yeah. Yeah, CGI, PS2 CGI quality in the movie. But yeah, Welcome to Raccoon City is nowhere near aimed at die-hard, hardcore, original Resident Evil fans like myself that played the original Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 and Code Veronica.
There will never be a good Resident Evil movie without a true Resident Evil fan.
100% agree with you, Supan. I couldn't agree more. It takes a die-hard Resident Evil fan to truly understand what it takes to make a Resident Evil movie for the Resident Evil fans, the hardcore, die-hard, original Resident Evil fans. So yeah, and it's very, very clear that those are the games that this movie is a very faithful adaptation of. And I'm going to back that up, of course. I'm not going to say something without backing it up. So, so let's actually kick off this impression live stream. So let's talk about the characters. As I mentioned, it has all the Resident Evil characters that you know and love from the Resident Evil series. It's got Leon and Claire Redfield. Um, sorry, Leon and Claire Redfield. Leon Kennedy, Leon S. Kennedy, that is. Claire Redfield, Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Albert Wesker, Chief Irons, um, William Burkin, and his wife Annette and daughter Sherry Birkin, and a
I
couple of
seen
other
Chris's and
small
Leon's
time.
action scenes and what the fuck.
Man, I've seen the whole movie, and I was like, "What the fuck," you know. So I share, I share your views on that, soup on 100%.
Chris seemed so dumb and Leon the dumbest.
Oh God, oh God, I will get to that in a second. Don't you worry. So yeah, let's actually start off with the first character that I'm going to mention, Leon S. Kennedy. Can I just say one thing first of all? The director of Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City went on record and said once again that this movie, Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City, is a very faithful adaptation of the Resident Evil games. And as I said before, and I'll say it again in this live stream, either what games was he playing? Was he playing some Chinese bootleg version of Resident Evil? Or was he high on an acid trip when he was playing these games? So let's start with Leon S. Kennedy.
How much box office did they earn and how much they earned?
Chad mentioned this in the live stream last night. I would love if you dropped by right now. I forget the exact figures, but it basically did not make anywhere near as much money back compared
He
to
was
how much was
playing them
put
while
into
drunk
this
and
movie.
high.
I'll get to this now in a second. So, in the video games, in the Resident Evil video games, which this director claims his movie is a very faithful adaptation of, Leon S. Kennedy, during the events of the Raccoon City incident, which takes place in this movie, he is a rookie cop. And it's his first day on the job, so he's a bit nervous, he's a bit wet behind the ears, he's a rookie. Completely get that. You see that in the original Resident Evil 2, and you see that in the remake of Resident Evil 2, where he's like, "You got this, Leon." But there's a difference between being a rookie cop and being an absolute retard. And it's the latter in this movie. He's a fucking retard. And that's just how his story unfolds in the game. As Chief Brian Irons says in this movie, when he sees Leon S. Kennedy, "Get the fuck out of this movie and get a haircut, you hippie." Because that is not Leon S. Kennedy. Like, I know he was late for work on his first day on the job in the games, but fuck me, like, he didn't sleep for 2 fucking weeks and turn into a fucking Hispanic in the process. Because in this movie, he's got scruffy hair, almost a beard. In fact, I think he pretty much has a fucking beard. And he's Hispanic. Leon S. Kennedy was written in the video games as a white Caucasian American with blonde hair and a smooth hair, and not smooth hair, blonde short hair and a smooth face.
Grinning, squinting face.
That is Leon S. Kennedy. So again, what kind of acid trip was this director on, or what kind of game was he playing where Leon S. Kennedy is a Hispanic, scruffy retard? Because that's what he is in this movie, which is supposed to be a very faithful adaptation of the games. I can't begin to describe how much of a retard he actually is in this movie.
Face without mouth.
It's absolutely unbelievable. it's like the movie was written by this guy right here, the Joker, because the movie from start to finish is a complete joke. Let's move on to Chris Redfield. Now, in the video games, okay, so we are first introduced to Chris Redfield in the video games. We don't know what Chris Redfield was like before the mansion incident. Okay, that was never explained to us. Quite simply, I don't think it's important. It's never referenced. It doesn't matter. So,
Hey, Joker would make a better movie than that piece of shit.
I agree 100%. When Chris Redfield learns of the bizarre murders occurring in the outskirts of Raccoon City, he is on that case, right? Like a house on fire. He jumps, head first in the deep end to investigate these bizarre murders, right? And when you're playing as him in the games and in the mansion, he is just determined to find out what is going on. And when he learns about the possibility of the Umbrella Corporation being behind these bizarre killings as a result of their deadly top secret T-virus project leaking in the mansion and causing the workers to turn into flesh-eating zombies, the undead. He doesn't question it. He doesn't say, Jill, what are you talking about? This is bullshit. This is a conspiracy. He doesn't react like that. He goes straight after the Umbrella Corporation. Once he leaves the mansion with that knowledge, he goes right to the Raccoon City Police Department and launches an investigation into Umbrella and attempts to expose them. And when the Raccoon City Police Department didn't listen, of course, because Chief Irons was being bribed by the Umbrella Corporation to keep his mouth shut, which I will talk about later, he heads to Europe to investigate Umbrella headquarters, along with Barry.
I wish we direct the new movie.
And Chris.
Amen, 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 amen.
I mean Jill. So Jill, Barry, and the rest of the surviving Stars members head back to Europe, but Jill decided to stay behind to save the civilians, of course. So that's Chris Redfield in the Resident Evil video games, which again, this movie is supposed to be a faithful adaptation of. But in the movie...
Downloading Fortnite RN.
Dear God, you had to spy the live stream of Fortnite, didn't you? Joke. Chris Redfield, in this movie, in Welcome to Raccoon City, once his sister, his own sister, once she makes it aware to Chris Redfield that the Umbrella Corporation...
My internet package I bought for today so fast.
Oh, nice. You got new internet. Jesus Christ, stop the lights. Forget Resident Evil. Forget fucking everything. Supon got new internet. Dear God. This... I can't even... This calls for celebration. Celebrate good times. Come on. Man, this is insane. Am I looking at that correctly? He got faster internet. Best part of all that is I never have to listen to my internet again. Unless you're showing off about my internet. Anyway, sorry, back to
it's only for the day, though, loudly crying face.
It's only for the day? What did you do, man? Did you do a fucking fucking job from you? Kill somebody, steal their identity, steal their internet, and steal a YouTube channel, man. What the hell? Christ. Anyway, back to the movie. So... Once Chris Redfield's sister, Claire Redfield, makes it aware to him that the Umbrella Corporation, who are responsible for conducting experiments on the children, because apparently they grew up in an orphanage in this movie, don't really care too much about that side. To be honest with you, I always knew they were orphans, but so it kind of makes sense that they would grow up in an orphanage.
I
But
bet
anyway,
the director doesn't even know who Barry was.
I bet the director doesn't even know whether he's fucking coming or going at the best of times. To be honest with you. So again, Claire Redfield says, "Look, Chris, the Umbrella Corporation have experimented on the children in the orphanage. They're poisoning this tongue. Look at this video clip. You know, he shows her a video clip of Ben, who you know from Resident Evil 2. You know, he in the games anyway. He was a former researcher at Umbrella, trying to expose what Umbrella were doing. This researcher anyway, or whoever he is in the movie, because I don't think he's ever explained who the fuck he is in the movie, other than the fucking some kind of crazy conspiracy theorist. But anyway, he's in this video and he's saying, look, the Umbrella Corporation are poisoning the city. How does Chris react in the movie? You're a conspiracy theorist.
And Chris be like, who the F are you even? Are you my sister? Because I don't remember, lol.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. Like, and he wouldn't even believe his sister. So he's very inquisitive, very skeptical about what his own sister is saying to him about the Umbrella Corporation. Again, in the games, once he finds out that the Umbrella Corporation are behind the T-virus outbreak, the killings in the outskirts of Raccoon City, once he learns of all of that, once he learns about what the Umbrella Corporation were up to in that mansion, in the lab, he listens to it, he believes it, he accepts it, and he fights the Umbrella Corporation. In the movie, when he learns of what the Umbrella Corporation were up to, he's like, nah, you're a conspiracy theorist. Damn. Like, I don't really care what he does during the rest of that movie, to be honest with you. It's just that part that I want to focus on. That is not Chris Redfield.
I thought the movie was going to be good, but when I saw Leon Chris Wesker Jill, I knew this would be shit.
Yeah, I mean, I actually go back over the characters actually later, and I'll actually kind of talk about how they look. Well, I did speak about how Leon looked, but I kind of focus on that later. For now, I'm talking about their story in the movie compared to the video games, which this movie claims to be a faithful adaptation of. So who's next? Who
and
should I
when the
discuss
first trailer
next?
came, I immediately licked to my mind that it is shit.
Supon, man, let me tell you, man, I've been saying it since the start. Once I knew this movie was a thing,
My brother said Leon was the worst in the movie.
he is. He is Supon. He's an absolute retard in this movie. I agree with that 100%. Once I knew this movie was a thing, was happening, I knew it was going to be a flop. Because I knew all they were doing was leeching off the name Resident Evil, the brand,
I wish you were talking
profit,
by raging.
money.
RN lol face with tears of joy.
It might happen. It might happen. For now, I'm pretty zen, pretty relaxed. For now. So, who will I discuss next? To be honest with you, I didn't have a problem with Claire Redfield. I thought she was the only character in that movie that acted like Claire Redfield. Really and truly, she looked like her. She acted like her. Her conquest against the Umbrella Corporation. You know, her determination to expose them, to fight them, to save people. It was all there. So,
Wesker.
you know. Yeah, let's talk about Wesker. Actually, no. Let me think. No, we're going to keep Wesker for last, if you don't mind, Supon. I'm actually going to talk about... Oh yeah, Jill Valentine. I'm going to throw a little bit of character design and
She
casting
really didn't
into
act
this
it
one
like
as
her,
well.
she acted like a main character teacher like something.
Who? Who are we talking about now? Jill. I don't know about a teacher, but so we'll talk about the casting and the kind of design of her character. Again,
Wow, nauseated face.
okay. So in again the video games, in the original Resident Evil games, and I'm pretty sure even in the remake of Resident Evil 3, Jill, which this movie again claims to be a very faithful adaptation of the video games. Again, this is what the director said.
About Claire.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought she was fine. Supon. Honestly, thought she was fine. So when I say that quote is coming from the director. The director of Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City said, in his own words, not my words, his words, that this movie, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, was a very faithful adaptation of the video games. That's his words, not mine. So, in the video games, Jill Valentine is a white Caucasian American, and she's quite calm.
Everyone so disgusting in movie nauseated face.
She's quite collective, is how I would describe her demeanor. Oh, however the fuck that word is pronounced. In the movie, Welcome
Can
to
you play
Raccoon
that
City.
audio when he says that from your phone?
Sorry, now when he says what? He didn't. I can find it for you, but Supan, please don't go down the road of is Johnny telling the truth. I'm not saying you're calling me a liar, but I'm not a liar. And I know what I heard. It was an IGN video, Supan, and he clearly said this is a very faithful adaptation of the video games. He said that, and he emphasized the word very. All I can say is that is true. You can decide to believe me or not. The truth is the truth. So, in this movie, Welcome to Raccoon City, Jill Valentine is...
I am not man, I just wanna listen to it.
Okay. Let me find it for you. I'm on YouTube now. I will find it for you. All I know is it was on IGN. Okay.
Thanks, smiling face with smiling eyes.
No, you're fine. It'll just back up my point even more if I can find it.
You are ign cringe.
No, it is there. Just bear with me. Soup on the things I do.
You there, Johnny Boer?
I'm here. I'm trying to find that fucking video for you. It would take you to do this, wouldn't it?
I wish Chad or Damien was there. Here asterisk.
I'm looking for this video, so just relax, will you?
Yes, Johnny finally raging, grinning, squinting face.
I'm raging at you, that's the thing.
Come on. Every story has a beginning.
I'm still looking for it now, Supan.
At least you are. I didn't get a notification, confused face.
Chad Middleton, Welcome back to Green Hill Gaming. Yeah, YouTube decides to act up now and again, so sorry about that. How are you keeping, Chad? You're very welcome to my Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon Shitty Impressions video, man. Hope you're keeping well and I hope you enjoy. Can you confirm how much money was made from
Every
this?
story has beginning, so what? Claire, you think we are dumb as nuts, you bitch.
Yeah.
I saw the movie yesterday. It was bad. Sheltering.
Oh man,
Me
it's
too,
worse.
Chad.
It's worse than bad. Can you how
Here
much
your chat,
profit?
I'm spare from a different account.
How much profit did they lose again?
Crickets.
Supon was asking that a couple of minutes ago, and he now has me looking for a fucking video that IGN put up, where he goes on record and saying it's a very faithful adaptation. All I know is it's from IGN. But it's going to make this video 10 times better.
Hi, I'm Johannes Roberts, the
Downloading
director of
Fortnite
Resident Evil
RN.
Welcome
Good
to
Rex.
Raccoon City. I'm here to break down the trailer for you.
Google says the budget was $40 million, but news posts are saying it's $25 million.
Every story has a beginning.
So what was the comment that you left there that the last...
Forget it, Johnny, if you can't find it.
Discover the origin of evil.
No, I will
Claire
find it.
arrives in Raccoon City looking for her brother.
Even though it's actually kind of annoying me now, Supon. Why couldn't you just not mention it, like? You had to mention it, didn't you? Supon, what was the comment that you left the other night? Sorry, last night, when you mentioned how much money they spent on the movie compared to how much money
Pensive face.
they made.
Sorry.
Now you're fine. But it's just, fuck's sake, like, it just would take you, like, the fucking...
Let's change the stream to talk about Fortnite, lol.
Fuck Fortnite! You want to fucking me rage, man? I'll fucking rage now about fucking Fortnite. Shut the fuck up about Fortnite. Chad, what was the comment that you left
Im
last
said it
night?
made almost $14 million worldwide.
Compared to how
Chad
much...
said 2 million and or something.
What was... Remember you said how much money they spent on the movie compared to how much money they made from the movie. That's the comment I'm looking for. If you can kind of remember what you said last night, if you can retype that comment, please, I would appreciate that. What I'm actually looking for now is the trailer that I might have sent, that I might have put up my page, but it's fucking so long ago, like, I just don't know. I will find that video. If it kills me, I will find that fucking video. Because I will be using that quote throughout the impressions video. This might be it. Oh, here we go. Told you I'll
He
find
said
it.
40 million or 2
Supon.
million something, can't remember.
Okay, Supon. Are you listening? Are you listening, Supon? Okay?
Johnny, if you can't leave it, man.
No, I found it. Listen very carefully. This is the director of Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City speaking here now.
Welcome to Raccoon City is
Isn't
a
Fukin
very
uploads
faithful
like
Fuck's sake,
crazy?
Supon! Christ! Stop commenting and listen.
Welcome
Yes,
to
I
Raccoon
am
City.
listening.
Fucking hell!
Very faithful
They spent $40 or $25 million on the movie and made a little over $5 million in the US and Canada.
So let me look at that comment now again. So they spent $40 million, 40 or 25 million on the movie, So let's say they made 25 million. Let's say let's say they spent 25 million dollars on the movie, and they only made a little over 5 million in the US and Canada. That is an absolute flop. That is an absolute flop. Now, I want everyone to listen now because I fucking spent long enough finding this video. So don't comment for a second now and just listen to the fucking director of Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. This is what he said about the movie. Wait, no.
Faithful adaptation of the Resident Evil. Welcome to Raccoon City is a very faithful adaptation of the Resident Evil games.
Boom. Did you hear how he emphasized the word very? A very faithful adaptation of the Resident Evil games. There you heard it. Sorry for snapping soup on, but you fucking wanted me to find this video.
Face.
So I found it. There you go. There you go. So I'll be using that quote.
Low elbow cup.
So I'll be using that quote throughout this live stream. So you heard it from the director himself. He emphasized the word very, Supon. He emphasized the word very. He said a very faithful adaptation of the Resident Evil games. You're fine. No problem at all. You're more than welcome. So I was talking about Jill Valentine in Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, which is a very faithful adaptation of the Resident Evil games. Well, in the games, as I said, Jill Valentine is a white Caucasian American, and her personality is quite relaxed and quite concentrated. In Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, Jill Valentine is mixed race. She looks nothing like Jill Valentine in the video games, and she acts like an absolute fucking psychopath. What more can be said on Jill Valentine in Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City? So I got a couple of more viewers watching. Chad has joined the live stream as well. So let me go back to the theme of my impressions of Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. It is very clear to me that Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City is a very faithful adaptation of the Resident Evil games. And it is very clear to me that this movie is aimed at Resident Evil fans. Yes, I agree. It is aimed at Resident Evil fans
Jill
who
and
have
we
played.
together. Mix erased couple cringe LOL, please don't cancel me.
YouTube will cancel you now, Supon, be careful. It is aimed at Resident Evil fans who have played Resident Evil 2 Remake and 3 Remake and watched a couple of old Resident Evil YouTube videos online, and they now think that they know everything about Resident Evil. And they call themselves Resident Evil fans. It's aimed at those people, yes, clearly. And it is clearly an adaptation of those games. But it is not. It is nowhere near aimed at die-hard, hardcore, original Resident Evil fans like myself who have played the original Resident Evil games on PS1. And it is clearly not an adaptation of those
not
games.
To leave them. Wesker didn't even close the door. He doesn't even turn evil.
Don't even get me.
Squinting face.
Oh, we'll get to him. We'll get to him. So next, I'm going to talk about Chief Irons. So, in the video games, in Resident Evil 2, even Resident Evil 2 Remake, which the director claims this movie, Welcome to Raccoon City, is a very faithful adaptation of, Chief Irons is an absolutely evil, psychopathical killer. Like, he is the kind of character you would see in a horror movie. He is the kind of killer you would see in a horror movie. He hunted down the mayor's daughter in the original Resident Evil 2, killed her, and was going to stuff her, like taxidermists, whatever the hell it's called, where you basically stuff an animal like a deer's head, and put it on a wall. That's what he wanted to do with the mayor's daughter. He was he was taking bribes from the Umbrella Corporation, like large portraits, art, and money, to keep quiet about what the Umbrella Corporation were doing underneath the streets of Raccoon City. Completely turned a blind eye to everything that was going on. He knew what was going on. He knew what Umbrella were researching.
Him killing the mayor's daughter was the most scariest thing I ever heard from him.
Yeah, because he's a
Was he killed by
psychopath.
the liquor, or just disappeared from the film?
He was killed by the liquor, just like that. Boom. That's the end of Irons. Boom. In the remake, you actually hear a bit more of how psychopathical Chief Irons actually was. He deliberately cut the RPD from the outside world. He destroyed communications. He actually he hid the ammunition, weapons and ammo. He deliberately hid them. He cut them off from the outside world, and he got pleasure from hunting
Liquor fed him up.
down and killing the surviving police officers, and got satisfaction from it. Watched him die and crawl was one of the quotes that Chief Irons used in the Resident Evil 2 remake. That is Chief Irons in the Resident Evil games, which this movie claims to be a faithful adaptation of. However, in the movie Welcome to Raccoon City, Chief Irons,
He took away ammunition. I didn't know about that.
it's just, he actually leads them to the can you believe the irony? In the movie, he actually tells them where the
Okay, thank you for confirming. The cam quality was dark and garbage.
oh, just like the whole movie, to be honest with you. No problem, though, no problem. In the movie, Chief Irons, he actually leads Leon and Claire to the ammunition room. And there is no reference to him being a psychopath or evil or anything. There's no mention of him taking any bribes from the Umbrella Corporation. There's no mention of him knowing what was going on.
William
He just
Burkin
basically...
looks like T-Feet.
He's just basically a fat, cranky cop that just doesn't really give a shit about what's going on. Yeah, that's why Irons in the movies. Let's talk about missing characters before we actually talk about Wesker.
William
It's
Burkin
missing.
is Chris Daddy sheltering. He is supposed to be like Bane height.
Bane height. So, speaking of
Really?
Bane,
WTF.
so yeah, we'll talk about William Birkin. So they didn't really. William Birkin is still William Birkin in the movie. In the video games, William Birkin is a very determined Umbrella researcher who researches the G virus, and his work is everything to him. His research on the G virus is everything to him. That's represented in the movies. However, as Chad mentioned, he actually looked after and raised Chris and Claire Redfield. And I will say as well, the whole scene
He
where
was Chris' only family when Claire took off.
yeah,
Grinning, squinting face.
the scene where he gets assassinated and his research is taken from him is no longer Hunk and his team. It's actually Wesker, which I will get to in a
That's
moment.
cringe. Kill me, please kill me now.
So
Riley.
it's not the worst, but it is a bit kind of funny, like, you know, to think that like William Birkin was the one that was raising Chris Redfield and Claire Redfield. Okay, so I'm going to talk about missing characters now, okay? So, like, there's no Barry Burton, but there is Richard Aiken. Richard fucking Aiken. No disrespect
Sherry in the
to
movie.
Richard Aiken. Sherry's in the movie, but plays a very small role considering how much of a role she played in the well, she does shoot Wesker. I'll give her that, but She doesn't shoot Wesker in Resident Evil 2 because he isn't in Resident Evil 2 Wesker. At least he's not actually. He's not seen. He's working behind it. He's working behind the scenes, but he's not actually. He doesn't play a significant role in the game. But the fact that Richard Aiken is in the movie, but Barry Burton isn't in the movie, is just hilarious, to be honest with you.
I heard the guy in the cell was going to be Barry. Grinning, squinting face.
Could have been.
What
He
the
could
fuck
have been.
have they done? I wanna die to know.
Man, what they've done is they've just taken a big shit on Resident Evil lore and spread it out and made the name Welcome to Raccoon City. That is what they've done to this movie. So, what are the missing characters? Well, the missing villains, you could say. I mean, if they're going to squeeze in the events of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, which they do in this movie, they could at least include
I wish this movie
the
never
Nemesis.
existed.
I think a lot of people would wish this movie didn't exist,
They
myself
copied
included.
the train ending from the first film.
They did actually,
Grinning,
didn't they?
squinting
They did,
face.
yeah. They actually did. They did. You're right there, Chad. They did. They don't include Nemesis, and they don't have Mr. X, and they don't have any former Tyrant. They're all missing. Instead we get PS3 CGI quality for a zombie dog. Now, I've kept the best for last. And I think this character, and I think how they portrayed this character's story in this movie, I think it's the best way to sum up everything that I've been trying to say so far about just how much they've fucked up the representation of the video game's lore, and about the fact that
Fuck my internet.
this movie, I thought you had fast internet, that this movie is aimed at the kind of Resident Evil fans that really don't give a shit about the classic
I
Resident
love
Evil
how
games.
Lisa Trevor is just wandering around freely.
Oh,
in the
Lisa
orphanage.
Trevor! Let me get to her,
Grinning,
actually.
squinting face.
Lisa Trevor. Oh, let me get to her. Let me get to her, actually. I'll, in a second now, but let me finish my point first. But when I eventually do discuss Wesker, it's going to sum up what I've been saying about the fact that the director was obviously aiming at the type of Resident Evil fans who haven't played the original games, don't give a shit about the original Resident Evil games, and only played a bit of Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake, thought the series was cool, saw the police department, saw the mansion, said, whoa, this looks cool. It's obviously aimed at those kind of people. But as far as people who kind of understand and respect and are obsessed with the lore, like myself, hardcore, die-hard, original Resident Evil fans, it's
She's like
obviously
Jay,
not
my old
aimed at
home. I
them.
will miss it when this city dies.
So Lisa Trevor. So Lisa Trevor was the daughter of George Trevor, the architect of the mansion. He designed the mansion, including all the secrets and everything. Like, he knew what the mansion was designed for. So he knew the secrets of the mansion, all the booby traps and the secret tunnels and everything else like that. Oswald Spencer, being one of the original founders of the Umbrella Corporation, who had this mansion built as a cover for the mansion lab below. Once he knew that George Trevor knew the secrets of the mansion, being the psychopath that he was, he couldn't have him
Wesker
live.
and Chris actor said exactly like the game.
So he invited George Trevor and his family to the mansion, including Lisa Trevor. Lisa Trevor was detained along with her mother, Jessica Trevor, and Lisa Trevor was infected with the progenitor virus, and over years she mutated and she went into a kind of a dormant
Chris actor
state.
has a PS5 with only 2 games in it, loudly crying face.
Yeah, says it all. And I bet none of them is Resident Evil. But anyway, so that's Lisa Trevor. Basically, she kind of mutates over the course of many years, and she attacks Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield in Resident Evil 1 remake. She's a boss. She's a villain. In the movie, for whatever reason, she ends up wandering around the Raccoon City Police Department. Now, she grew up in the orphanage, which is not the lore of the Resident Evil games, which apparently is this movie is supposed to be a faithful adaptation of. As I mentioned, she was always in the mansion. She was detained in the mansion. She was brought to the mansion. But in the movie, for whatever reason, she's an orphan. Never explained how she becomes like the way she was. Okay, they experimented on her. Okay, that is confirmed. But it's not. There's no connection to the Trevor family or anything like that. And then she somehow
Lisa
ends
Trevor's
up
story has the saddest story with Steve.
very sad. And she somehow ends up in the Raccoon City Police Department, and for whatever reason, she's helping the characters. So that's Lisa Trevor's representation in Welcome to Raccoon City. But no Wesker. Oh my God, Wesker. Wesker, probably the most fan favorite Resident Evil character in the entire series, Albert Wesker. Okay, so again, in the games, particularly Resident Evil 1 remake, and I'm going to discuss his backstory as well. Again, which the director has said, and I played the video, clearly said, that this movie, Welcome to Raccoon City, is a very faithful adaptation of the Resident Evil games. Albert Wesker, long before, and I mean long before the mansion incident, long before he was ordered by Umbrella Corporation, because he was working for them in their security division, long before he was ordered to lure in the STARS members into the mansion to gather combat data on biological weapons, basically have them killed, go fight against biological weapons, have them fight them and have them killed as well, dispose of them because they were sniffing around Umbrella's lab and sniffing around what they were doing. Umbrella wanted them nowhere near the lab. They wanted
You're not going to get a boring generic villain. Hyphen Tom Hopper, shelter in.
So he basically insulted Albert Wesker. Crazy, isn't it? What a faithful adaptation of the video games when you actually go away and insult one of the most main characters in the series. Crazy, isn't it? So, yeah, he was ordered by Umbrella Corporation.
Played a great Chris.
To lure them into the mansion and to kill them off. While he had his own plan in motion, he was planning on leaving Umbrella because he felt like after the T-virus leaked
I can't wait for Black Wesker, shelter in.
As if it couldn't get any
Umbrella
worse.
Academy, Tom Hopper is in it.
As if it couldn't, I'm gonna be fuck what anything that fucker was in. So yeah, as if it couldn't get any worse, we've got a Black Wesker to look forward to. Yay! So Wesker's plans in the video games was to leave Umbrella but steal their research, particularly the research on the T-virus, the Tyrant virus, and sell it to an opposing corporation. So that's his kind of story in the Resident Evil games. But long before the mansion incident, Albert Wesker was part of the Albert Wesker was part of the Wesker Children Project, a project originated by Oswald Spencer and his friend and Dr. Wesker. It was a eugenics project to create a superhuman race, basically, who shared the views.
Resident Evil YouTubers I watched, they said they think the movie is good while being paid.
Yeah, well paid to say it, but actually, funny enough, most of the YouTubers I've been watching all said it was shit. But anyway,
they're being fucking paid and said it's good.
Well paid to say it, man. Well paid to fucking say it. So, yeah, it was a project. It was a eugenics project to create the perfect superhuman, basically. And so, children from very intellectual families were kidnapped by Dr. Wesker and Oswald Spencer, and inject them with the progenitor virus. And one of those children was Albert Wesker. He was giving a fantastic education by the Umbrella Corporation. He eventually worked for the Umbrella Corporation as a researcher, and then eventually he would. And he actually took over Dr. Marcus's research on the T-virus along with William Burkin. So they actually worked together. Albert Wesker and William Burkin know each other. They were actually researchers, very young researchers at the Umbrella Corporation. They worked together on the T-virus project. They assassinated Dr. James Marcus. Eventually, Albert Wesker would be promoted
to. Wish we could use the movie makers.
Would be promoted to security, and it was then.
Asterisk.
And it was then where he was ordered by the Umbrella Corporation to lure in the STARS, because he got a position in STARS. He got a position in STARS as the captain of STARS, to basically keep things in order, so they wouldn't be sniffing around Umbrella's affairs. But once the T-virus leaked, they couldn't exactly cover it up as well as they wanted to.
So they had couples in the movie.
So they had to lure in.
Face.
So they had to lure in.
They were partners, but Wesker was going to betray him. BTW.
So they had to lure in the STARS to dispose of them and gather combat data. Are you with me in all that now? Okay, so in the movie Welcome to Raccoon City, which this, which the director
Sad.
claims to be a faithful adaptation of the video games I just mentioned there. Let me take some sip of my water here. In the movie, long story short, Albert Wesker, first of all, looks nothing like him. There's absolutely nothing like Albert Wesker.
Johnny starts raging on the movie.
Doesn't act like him. No, he might. Who knows? So, in one of the opening scenes of the movie, Albert Wesker is flirting with Jill Valentine like a fucking college student. He acts like a fucking college student. No disrespect to college students, by the way. But he acts like a college student, this kind of like young, kind of like flirting with her, flirting with Jill Valentine. To cut a long story short, he is...
Wesker puts a ketchup bottle on the rookie, sheltering.
He wants to expose Umbrella to this shady, this other company, corporation, people. So what he wants to do basically is steal any evidence or research he can get on Umbrella Corporation for money. He was doing it for money. No mention of him working for the Umbrella Corporation. No mention of him wanting to steal the research for himself. Nothing like that. William Burkin is in the movie, and he actually fucking tries to steal William Burkin's research on a G-virus, but he's only doing that because he was ordered to do it. There's no like, oh, hello, Wesker. How are you today? There was no acknowledgement that they know each other, that they worked with each other, because as I mentioned in the games, they did work with each other in the Umbrella Corporation as young researchers. Again, in the movie, he just wants to steal any evidence on what Umbrella was doing and expose them and get paid for it. All he wanted was money. Yeah, he was willing to put his friends' lives at risk to do that, but all he was thinking of was money.
What the fuck are you doing here, Leon?
That was quite funny.
Sheltering.
Get a fucking haircut, you hippie. That was funny. I will say that. Anyway, when this whole thing kind of comes to light, basically he wants to steal the G-virus. William Burkin wouldn't give it up. He ends up shooting the wife by accident or something. The wife steps in front of him and blah, blah, blah. Shoots Annette Burkin. Sherry is traumatized. Eventually, Sherry shoots Albert Wesker. Jill finds him.
Who said that?
Jill finds him and who said what? And Jill finds him and,
Internet.
Chief Iron says that to Leon Kennedy is the funniest thing ever, to be honest with you. When Wesker in the movie is dying, Jill is like, no, we want to save you. I mean, polar opposite to what happens in the game. In the game, Jill Valentine finds out that Albert Wesker was working for the Umbrella Corporation, actually helped to research the T-virus, the virus that turned all of her friends and comrades into flesh-eating zombies, that caused the bizarre murders in the outskirts of Raccoon City, caused all of this. Finds out that he lured them into the mansion to dispose of them and gather combat data. Finds
There
out
will
that...
never be a stream without me saying internet.
Oh, there won't be. Finds out that that he had Barry Burton's, that he was threatening Barry Burton's family. Finds out that he locked up Chris Redfield in a cell. Finds out all this about Wesker. Finds out that he wanted to steal the Tyrant virus. All of this. Jill and Chris wanted Wesker dead, and Wesker wanted them dead. In the movie, no Wesker. And then there's a post-credit scene where he survives the explosion in the lab, and he puts on his sunglasses like he's allergic to the sun or something. And I never got your name, Ada Wong. Oh, they brought in Ada. Ooh, 10 out of 10. So, absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like, I mean, so, what did I want to talk about again? So that's how they portrayed Wesker in the movie. Was there something I was going to talk about earlier? Because let's face it, there's a lot to talk
Code
about.
Veronica sequel where Chris, Wesker, and Jill work together, sheltering.
God only knows. God only knows. It's so funny though, how arrogant this fucker, the director, actually is. Because Chad pointed out there just how much money they actually made off the movie compared to how much money was put into it. Little under 5 million they made in the US and Canada. He's already talking about what he wants to do in the next movie. What a cocky, arrogant cunt.
No.
I mean, the majority of people will agree that this movie is trash.
My internet.
Mostly die-hard original Resident Evil fans who
The cell
play the
scene
original
and
games.
RPG ending grinning squinting face.
So what can I say, man? I mean, that's pretty much it. It pretty much just sums up. But there's such stupid moments in the movie as well. The scene where Ben is locked in the cell with an infected that is turning into a zombie. This is a guy who knows exactly what's going on, who tells Claire what's going on, knows everything about what the Umbrella Corporation are up to, the T virus, the G virus, how it infects them, how it mutates them. So he knows that the infected that is in the cell with him is going to turn into a zombie and kill him. He knows that. He's got a gun in his hand, and not once
He
does
is
he
making
shoot.
another movie.
Yeah, he's thinking about it anyway. Not once does he shoot the infected. How stupid is that? Like, how absolutely retarded is that, like? And I think there was a couple of other scenes as well that just made me laugh and that just made me kind of wonder what the fuck, like, does this make any bit of sense, like?
What a fucker.
What a cocky fucker, like, huh? Man, I don't know.
Leon didn't even lock the cell back face with tears of joy.
I know, yeah. You know, I once I saw images of this movie, like the Raccoon City Police Department, the Stars helicopter, the mansion. I knew that all this movie was going to offer was nostalgia, was just a highlight reel of cutscenes from the first two
Oh
Resident
God, I
Evil
can't handle
remakes.
this.
I can't handle it either. I knew it. And I knew that the rest of the movie was just going to be shit. I mean, fair enough, they made the mansion look like the mansion. They made the Raccoon City Police Department look like the police department. They added in Easter eggs here and there. But come on. That doesn't make, one, a good movie, and two, a good video game movie adaptation. It takes a lot more than that.
The two zombie ladies we kept seeing because of budget cuts, sheltering.
What, did they actually use the same zombie over and over again? I didn't even know that one, to be honest. So I knew it was going to be bad. I just didn't expect it to be this bad. It was actually worse than I expected.
Yes.
It was actually a lot worse. Jesus Christ almighty, that's absolutely hilarious. Fucking hell, man. It's like a fucking little fucking student movie, isn't it? It's like a fan movie. I swear to God, man, it's a fan movie. Yeah, it's a long fan
WTF.
movie. I give them that, but it's a fan movie, and a fucking bad
too,
fan
Johnny.
movie at that note, to be honest with you, man. Oh, it's worse, man. Supon, Chad, lads, it's worse than you can expect. I don't even think a non-Resident Evil fan would actually enjoy this movie, because as a horror movie, it's shit,
I
and it
also
makes no
didn't
sense.
expect to be it that bad.
It's so bad. Like, it is just so fucking bad. I mean, Mila Jovovich and Paul Anderson are laughing. Absolutely laughing right now. Their children are laughing. The joke is on this director. And the joke is on the
The
ball...
first Ari film is better and original.
the ball-sucking and ass-licking fucking people who actually attempt to defend this fucking movie. You know? The joke is on them. Because every one of Paul Anderson's Resident Evil movies were all box office hits.
If a fan says it's good, what are they smoking? Are they being mad?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what was this director smoking when he was playing these games, when he claims to have played these games anyway? And he comes out and says this. I mean, do I have the video as a bookmark here? No.
Time to seduce Miljovovich.
Should have it on the... I wouldn't mind.
Goodness.
But, it's not there. Doesn't matter. Yeah, fucking hell, man. I mean, like, what were they smoking? What was this director smoking? You know, so I've pretty much said all I need to say, really, in terms of my impressions of this the shitfest of a movie. If I think of anything else, I'll mention it. But in the time being, what do you think? Like, I know you've actually weighed in a lot now, actually, in terms of your impressions, and thank you for that as well, by the way. But anything else you want to add?
Watched the game from YouTube.
Yes, that's exactly it, man. I'm telling you, man. That's exactly it, man. I think Supon is exactly right there. Man, I think they just looked up YouTube, right? Saw a couple of cutscenes from the remake of Resident Evil 2 and 3. Watched some history of, like, Code Veronica. Oh, yeah, the fans like Code Veronica. Grabbed a couple of cutscenes together and said, we're going to make a movie on this. Like, honestly, the way they portrayed Wesker in this movie, that's not... That does not look like... That does not feel like somebody who actually loves and understands Resident Evil. In no shape or form. Like, if you wanted to tell an origin story of Albert Wesker, then why not tell the story of the Wesker children? Because that's Albert Wesker's origin story. Albert Wesker has an origin story. You're probably going to get these non-Resident Evil fans, people who have no fucking idea what Resident Evil is, that are going to say, but Johnny, it's telling how Wesker becomes Wesker. Wesker was fucking Wesker before the fucking games, you fucking retard cunt. Is that enough rage for you, no, Supon? Wesker was Wesker back in the fucking 60s, for fuck's sake. Well, maybe not 60s, 70s, 80s, something like that. But like, Wesker was Wesker long before he stepped into that fucking mansion. And long before he deceived the STARS members. He fucking assassinated his mentor. Yeah? His boss, Dr. James Marcus. Dr. James Marcus trained Albert Wesker. Dr. James Marcus trained Albert Wesker. Right? To be the researcher he was. He was ordered by Spencer to assassinate him, Dr. James Marcus, and steal his research, which he did long before the events of Resident Evil 1. So don't give me this crap, you fucking Australian cunt. Don't give me this crap, right, about this is an origin story. Oh, yes. Thank you for that, yeah. Oswell E. Spencer, yeah. The most pivotal fucking character of the entire Resident Evil fucking series, more than Albert Wesker. See, that's the thing. When you're appealing to the kind of Resident Evil fans that are simping over Wesker and only played Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake, right, they're not going to have a fucking clue who Oswald E. Spencer is, and nor are they going to respect him or understand what he's all about. In the games, Oswald E. Spencer doesn't die until the events of Resident Evil 5. When Albert Wesker discovers his origin, his identity, and he just kills Spencer. He rips his fucking heart out, right? That takes place years after the events of Resident Evil fucking 1, 2, and 3. But in the movie, he has been dead a year.
One guy said the movie makers said it's good, and he said to me, shove it.
Man, he can shove a fucking dildo up his hole and ride it hard. Because I'm telling you, I'll get more enjoyment out of that by than fucking watching
Johnny,
this fucking shitty movie.
I really wish I could kick that guy.
I think we all could wish we could kick cunts like that. But that's the thing. I mean, people who don't have a fucking clue about Resident Evil, man, they're like, oh, but it's an origin story of Wesker, right? That guy tells you how Wesker becomes Wesker, Johnny. Come on, like. I swear to God, man, that's the kind of person I'd like to fucking slap and kick the fucking shit out of, to be honest with you. Wesker has an origin story. It's already there. It's already there. I was reading the origin of Albert Wesker when I was a fucking kid. When I was younger than you, Supon. Probably around your age, actually. Yeah, I was around your age, Supon. When I was reading the origin of Albert Wesker. It was in a guide. You know, a video game guide. A walkthrough. You know, those big fat thick books you can get for Resident Evil Zero. It was the history of basically it was the history of Resident Evil at the time, and it was actually Wesker's report. It was called, and it mentioned how Wesker became Wesker. So he already has an origin story. So if you're going to claim to be a very faithful adaptation of the video games, then why not tell that fucking story
Wesker
that's
just
there?
wanted
It's
to
written.
leave town despite
It's
having
easy.
a well-paid job which he could have done before elbow
Exactly, yeah. It's right there. The fucking story is right there. The lore is right there. Just work off the fucking lore that's already there. And appeal to the actual Resident Evil fans. Not fucking wannabe Resident Evil fans who just like to play fucking cool looking games that look cool, you know? But actual like fans who grew up with Resident Evil back in the fucking PlayStation 1, fucking pixelated graphics, you know? Appeal to those people, for fuck's sake. You know? So yeah. Fuck me, like. I think the portrayal of Albert Wesker just says it all, really, about this shitfest of a movie. You know? Looks nothing like Wesker, acts nothing like Wesker, his lore has
Remember
got
the leaks
no
of Ken's
connection.
gun shop and the police cars we don't even see in the final
Oh
cut.
yeah! Thank you for reminding me! I didn't even fucking notice that, man. Where's Ken's fucking gun shop? Like, it amazes me. Just
My
absolutely
internet.
amazes me. Fuck your internet, Supon. It amazes me that they were like bringing like Richard Aiken. Like, what the fuck was the point of Richard Aiken being in that movie? Like, it was a decision. Like, somebody just decided we're going to put in Richard Aiken. Why? Why? What did he bring to that movie? What the fuck did he bring to that movie? Actually, like, literally, what the fuck did he bring to that movie? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like, in all due respect to Richard fucking Aiken, I'm sorry, Richard. I'm sorry if there's any
Even
fans out there
Graphicus
of
sheltering.
Richard Aiken. I know. Exactly. Like, I'm sorry, no, but Richard Aiken, I don't think anybody gives a fuck about Richard Aiken. Why not bring in Barry Burton? Why not bring in Kendo from the gun shop? That iconic scene where either Leon or Claire comes into the gun shop and Kendo is there fucking, you know, with a shotgun. Why not recreate that fucking scene? You know what, man? This director is no different to Paul Anderson in terms of how he approached this movie. He is telling his own story. He might be bringing in Leon and Claire and Chris and Jill and Wesker and William Burkin, but he is clearly telling his own story. The difference is Paul Anderson's movies were actually successful.
Did Richard die in movie?
Do you know what, man? I didn't even fucking pay attention, man. I didn't even pay attention. I honestly don't know. I honestly do not know, man. So, what the fuck? I honestly don't know, man. So if you want to add anything,
Now I am bored.
me too, man. I think I've said everything I need to say about it now, to be honest. But I would say to any hardcore, die-hard, original Resident Evil fans, if you're thinking of watching this movie, don't. Save yourself the trouble, the torture, the agony of watching that absolute shitfest of a movie. If you're just a fan of horror...
Man, we had some weird PTSD from the movie, that we are trying to forget RN.
I
Yes,
agree.
they did that stupid lighter scene with him.
But like, I honestly think that, like, without a shadow of a doubt, like, Paul Anderson's Resident Evil movies are far better. They tell a story, a good story, an original story.
Let's play Batam.
Not right now, man. I'm gonna have to end this live stream in a few minutes, to be honest with you. This live stream was really just about giving my
That lighter
impressions.
scene was bad.
Man, it was you couldn't even see anything, man. It was all over the place. Man, I just can't believe how bad this movie is. Like, I just really can't. I mean, I know at the start I was kind of like, oh, I don't know really. I mean, I just don't think I expected it to be this bad. There was a part of me thinking, okay, it's going to be good. I'm just overreacting, you know. But fuck me, when I watched the movie, man, I was not overreacting. I was not overreacting. I was probably underreacting, if anything. Do you know? So yeah, man, I just fucking think like,
Fortnite
damn,
downloaded. Good vibes.
yay, Fortnite downloaded. Sorry. You know me, Supon, I don't give a shit about Fortnite. But I'm glad that you have it downloaded and that you're going to enjoy it, like, and you're going to get. But you know
Okay,
what?
so no stream today.
Can I actually read? I'm going to round off the live stream actually by reading a quote from Mila Jovovich
I also
on
didn't
Welcome
expect to
to
be
Raccoon City.
that bad. I had the same feelings, Johnny.
I don't think anyone expected it to be this bad. So I'm actually going to find what Mila Jovovich said actually on Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. It's pretty short, really.
Fortnite is better than that shit movie.
You know what, man? I actually agree with you. I agree with you. 100%. I don't even have to think about it. 100% agree with you on that. Okay, so this is what Mila Jovovich said about Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City well before the movie got released now.
I watched it with an open mind, and nope, can't recommend it even for just a normal zombie movie.
That's exactly it, man. I actually genuinely watched that movie with an open mind. I went into it thinking, you know what? Maybe it'll be good. Maybe I'm just overreacting. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But when I saw Wesker acting like a flirtatious college student, when I saw Jill Valentine being like a fucking an inmate from Arkham Asylum, you know, and I saw Chief Bryans just, man, I don't even be repeating the entire live stream. Man, it was just bad. But this is what Mila Jovovich said about the movie.
I agree.
And this is a quote from Mila Jovovich. They've announced a reboot? Okay, well, good luck with that. I think a lot of people with these franchises kind of put the cart before the horse. There's a danger of that. They've been wanting to reboot Resident Evil for a long time. And listen, I love the Resident Evil world. I think it's a great property. I would do it if I was a producer. I think what made Resident Evil so special is that the people involved really loved what they're doing and really were fans of the game. So say what you want about Mila Jovovich, say what you want about Paul Anderson. She was making him look good. Say any of that, man. But she is dead right about what she said there about putting
that movie nothing like Resident Evil. Let's just say it's inspired by the game's story.
But the thing is, I don't think Paul Anderson ever came out and said that his movies were a very faithful adaptation of the video games. You find that for me, Supon. You find that quote from me. You find that quote for me from Paul Anderson saying that his Resident Evil movies are very faithful adaptations of the video games, because you won't find them. He never once said that. Never once said that. But the director of this movie, Welcome to Raccoon City, did go out on record and say that his movies were a very faithful adaptation of the video games. And what Mila Jovovich has said there is so true about that people, this director, puts the cart before the horse. Basically jumps to conclusions that this movie is going to be successful, this is going to be a great movie, it's Resident Evil, so it's going to be great.
Yeah, he didn't, I think.
So he was, no, he didn't. There's no thinking about it. Full stop. He did not say this was he said what you were saying a minute ago, or was the chat that was saying it, about it being,
How do I find it? I wasn't born in 2002, lol.
He didn't say it though. You won't find it. The answer to your question is you won't find it, because Paul Anderson did not say that. He never said that. And it's what you said there about the movie. It's Paul Anderson's movies were inspired by the game, inspired by Capcom's Resident Evil. That's what comes up on the movie. And it is because you've got the Umbrella Corporation, you've got Raccoon City, you've got zombies, you've got all different types of biological weapons, you've got this survivor story, Alice desperately trying to figure out who she is, fighting against the Umbrella Corporation, surviving, fighting zombies, coming to the, uncovering the conspiracy, and that too, and uncovering the truth behind the Umbrella Corporation. That's all there. Man, if Paul Anderson's Resident Evil movies were games, or Resident Evil games, people would love them. So what's the problem with this movie?
The movie sucked, who agrees? But it's better than Raccoon's shitty TBH.
I think it's absolutely fantastic, Supon, because I was there from the start. I was there through a 15-year journey of the Resident Evil movies. I saw Alice's story from the beginning to the very end and how it all summed it up. So, each to their own, Supon, but I love that movie. But I think we can both agree that it's far better than Welcome to Raccoon City. So it's kind of nice to have come to this moment where the movie has finally released now, and I can share my impressions, because I remember before this movie got released, long before this movie got released, back when it was just a couple of screenshots and a very short synopsis, and I was giving my impressions, and I was saying this movie is going to be a flop, it's going to be a letdown. It's safe to say that it is a flop, seeing as it only made 5 million out of 25 million spent on the movie, 5 million made back. I think it's pretty safe to assume that it's a flop. And as far as it being a letdown, I mean, a lot of people don't like this movie, so it is a letdown. So I was right about that. And as far as it being nothing more than a glorified highlight reel of cutscenes from the first 2 Resident Evil remakes and recreating locations and scenes, that's a fact. After watching the movie, that's exactly what I saw. I saw a recreation of the mansion, a recreation of the Raccoon City Police Department, recreation of scenes like the first zombie encounter, recreation of scenes like the truck toppling over.
They released it the same week as Ghostbusters, Sheltering.
Yeah, I'd rather watch Ghostbusters, to be honest. I really would. So that's exactly what it ended up becoming. It's all the movie had to offer as far as... And cramming. I haven't even spoke about the fact that crammed in three games. 4, actually. Some people agree in 4, actually, because of the reference to Code Veronica, even though Code Veronica didn't take place till months after the events of the Raccoon City incident. They crammed in the events of the mansion incident, the Raccoon City incident, and Code Veronica into one movie. And I knew back then that was going to be a massive letdown, a massive mistake. And it was, because it was all over the place. It was all over the shop. I mean, if there's a sequel, it can't be in Raccoon City because it's destroyed. It can't be about the Umbrella Corporation because Spencer is no longer alive. And pretty much there's no more Umbrella. They left the city. So what are they going to do? What are they going to manage to fucking do, man? So,
your description, lol.
Well, it's the best way to describe it, really. I mean, I don't beat around the bush. I mean, this isn't a review, This isn't a review. Like, this isn't a very, like, IGN review. Like, I mean, if the movie is shit, I will say it's shit. Like, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to say, oh, it's shit, but, I have to respect
Johnny,
the director
I guess
a little bit.
Stop. We all know it's bad. Let's take a break. Let's just eat and pretend it's not a movie.
You should just ignore whatever happened. No, I'm not going to ignore whatever happened, because I had to listen to people hate on Paul Anderson and Mila Jovovich. And I mean, when I say hate now, I mean people like wishing her death. And every other movie she was in, like, oh, shit. I mean, I've had to endure that, because I'm telling you, like, I was a kid. I was a kid watching the very first Resident Evil movie. And I watched the second, third, the fourth, and so on. And I went through a journey, like, with
people
these
her dead.
actors. They did. And him. Yes, they did. Supon. That's how far they took it. Like, I actually, genuinely, it felt like I got to know Mila Jovovich.
Oh wow, my left ball.
Like, oh, okay. What the fuck did you do with your left ball? But they genuinely did, right? And anyway, so I actually, like, really kind of...
that's too far, TBH.
Very far. So I really got to like Mila Jovovich and her character Alice and the story that was told through all of those movies. And I mean, I just watched the behind the scenes and everything. I just felt like I was there. Do you know when you're really connected to a movie? Like, I felt like I was there. I felt like I knew Paul Anderson, I knew Mila Jovovich, I knew Michelle Rodriguez, and
Watch
all
The
the other
Fourth Kind
characters.
with Mila.
So, like, I think I actually did see that actually a long time ago. But like, I liked the movie. Listen, I liked it. I liked Alice's story. I liked the fact that she was created as a biological weapon by Umbrella, and she
The
uses her.
first movie was the only best close video game movie we will ever get.
But Supon,
And Sonic.
Supon, maybe we need to look at it from a different perspective. Instead of having a video game that is close, or
I
sorry, a
can't
movie,
wait for Sonic 2 movie.
but instead of having a movie that is close to the video games, why don't we just accept a bit of creativity? Yeah? Why don't we accept what Paul Anderson done by creating a new character with a new story arc and, a fresh approach to, characters that were in the game, but by making it fucking entertaining at the very least. Why don't we just accept that? Like, instead of just, because if you have a video game, and this is what Paul Anderson said, if they make the movie
Mortal
identical,
Kombat is still great. Sheltering.
the original one, anyways. If you make your movie, right, identical to the games, then they're going to be boring because you've seen them already. I think what
If
Paul
we want to
Anderson.
create a movie, then should be 3 hours long or something. I can imagine a good movie in my mind.
Look, if you think of it, right, Paul Anderson in the first Resident Evil told a prequel story, told the origin story of what went on in the lab
But
below
that movie
the
won't
mansion.
have that much dialogue.
So you saw Alice and you saw the other characters desperately trying to escape the lab and get out alive. You saw that, and then you saw how brutal the Umbrella Corporation were, which is very true to the video games. That, like, capturing Matt and taking him to the Nemesis project, and then Alice, escapes the mansion and is in the city, and she sees that the whole city is completely fucking infested with zombies and destroyed. But so in the second movie, you get to see Raccoon City, and eventually it gets destroyed. And then in the third movie, it goes beyond Raccoon City. It's just, look, it's a continuous story based in the Resident Evil world. I enjoyed it. Okay, I enjoyed her story arc. What can I say, right? Like, I didn't enjoy Welcome to Raccoon City. Okay, I didn't enjoy any fucking. The only part of that movie I enjoyed is when Chief Irons told Leon Kennedy to get the fuck out and to get a haircut, you fucking hippie. That was just. I felt like it was made for me. I felt like there was at least one part of that movie that was just, made for me, because I absolutely fucking. I don't like
Second
Leon
movie
anyway.
good, but why did they actually, even though she's hot in it? But why she doesn't know anything?
I know what you're saying, Supon, but it's not like she can come in there and fucking, like, after the first movie, you can't just make it about Jill Valentine. You can't just make it about, oh, I just came back from the mansion. Oh, I didn't see you there. What the
I
fuck,
agree
like?
that joke was the best part of movie and only
Yeah.
good part.
You can't just have that, Supon. Like, if they were going to tell a story about Jill escaping the mansion, then why wasn't she in the mansion in the first fucking movie? Like, you can't just look. Let's face it, okay? They brought Jill in to go up against Nemesis, right? I mean, I know she doesn't actually fight Nemesis in it, but still, look, is it a perfect adaptation of a video game? No, it's not. But does it have Nemesis? Yes. Does it have Jill Valentine that actually looks like Jill Valentine and acts like Jill Valentine? Yes. So that's all I'll say. There was no Nemesis in Welcome to Raccoon City. And Jill Valentine didn't even act or look like Jill Valentine in Welcome to Raccoon City. Anyway, that is going to do it for the live stream. I have said everything I need to say. You have given a lot of input, lads. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. Much appreciated.
Okay, stop the cap.
I hope you enjoyed. A little bit of rage there for Supon. So, glad you got a little bit of rage. And that's the last I'm ever going to talk
Let's end
about.
the movie stream.
Yes, that's the last I'm going to talk about Welcome to Raccoon City because
Take a break.
I'm done with it
Let's
now.
eat.
Yeah, let's eat. Supon is starving.
And
Let's
stream
say.
Batman now.
Oh, I'm not gonna. I'm probably not gonna stream.
Good vids.
I don't know. I might stream later, Supon. I can't guarantee nothing, but I might stream later on tonight. Okay. So thank you for watching.
Last time ever with that Fukin movie.
I'm never again going to mention it. I'm done with it. I'm never going to mention it again. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next live stream.